Welcome to my show, Vision. Today we have a special guest, and I'm just honored to be here in the bush with Susan McLoughlin. She's an inspiration to me. She's got a vision, and she's just moving forward with it. So, I'd like you to tell us about your vision and what you're up to right now.
What I'm up to right now? Okay, well, I am training for my very first marathon. And the destination is kind of unique. It's not where somebody might think that they would like to run their very first marathon.
Where is it?
It's in Antarctica.
Okay, so why would you choose Antarctica in the first place? Like, before we get on to the other things about why you're doing the marathon, why would you pick a marathon in Antarctica? Aren't there lots around here?
There are lots of marathons everywhere, yeah, for sure. But Antarctica is just a really wild and remote and fabulous place. I've been there once already and just was blown away by the beauty, the wilderness, the remoteness of it all, the wildness of it, really. It's just untouched by humans. And,
cool.
And when I found out that there was actually a marathon tour that took you down there, and you could actually run a marathon.
Wow.
I thought, that's for me. I want to do it, and I want it to be my very first marathon.
And so they do it in the summer when it's their warm weather? Do they have warm weather?
They have their austral summer.
Okay.
Warm could be a balmy 0.
Wow.
Or below, and but it won't get too cold.
Okay.
So because it is their summertime, and the daylight hours are really super long down there in the summer.
Okay.
So that's good. We'll have lots of hours to run the marathon.
So how many miles is it?
It's, well, kilometers. Yeah, 42.2 kilometers.
Shoo,
crazy. Yeah, on a surface of ice, rock, snow, possibly mud. It's hard to say, depending on global warming. It's all happening. Stuff's melting everywhere.
Wow, that's amazing. And so you must have exercised before. Like, you must have a history of being fit in order to just jump into a marathon.
Well, yeah, I have a history of being active, being athletic, being kind of sporty. I have been all my life. Just recreational athlete, but lots of different sports. I really like a lot of different sports. Recently, I guess the training the sports that I've been in that would help me in my marathon would be things like doing triathlons.
Okay, so you've done a triathlon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, in the past I've done a few triathlons.
Okay.
And I've run a few running races, not a marathon, but so I think I can do it.
Awesome.
And yeah.
That's exciting. So behind all this, there was an event that came to pass for you. You met up with, was it a friend of your father's or something like that inspired a vision you have?
Yes, that's right. Earlier this year, I think it might have been February, so March, April, May, June, July, August, so maybe 6 or 8 months ago, a longtime family friend came to me, and he was a business partner of my father's. And he came to me with this little gift in my office one day, and I was really shocked
just
and
out of the
touched.
Blue.
And yeah, he was a business partner of my father's.
Okay.
And my father was killed in a plane crash when I was a little girl, when I was 7. And it happened in the Campbell River area. My father was traveling with 2 buddies. They were going off on a hunting trip. And they were taking a little float plane off into an area that's sort of around the head of Butte Inlet around here. It's a remote area. You can only get there by float plane or whatever. And so they were heading off on a hunting trip, and they never actually made it to their hunting trip. The plane crashed, and everybody on board was killed.
Wow.
So there was definitely a search involved when we found out that the plane was missing. A search and rescue effort, and the plane was located fairly quickly, and bodies were retrieved there were bodies. There was actually a big fire,
Right.
so there wasn't a lot of remains. But I guess the searcher that found my dad's body found something and gave it to this business partner, who has had this now for over 37 years, and he's kept it just kind of tucked away. And I don't know what inspired him to get it out and bring it to me after all these years, but I'm really grateful that he did.
Wow.
And so basically it's just this little bag full of coins, quarters and dimes and nickels. They're very blackened, they're very charred, and it's obvious when you look at them that they've been in a fire. And he said to me, "Here, I want you to have these. This is what the search and rescue worker found on your dad's body."
Wow.
And so I held them there in my office, and I just, started crying and crying. I couldn't believe it, and just holding these coins that had survived all these years, coins that, were in my dad's pocket the last time I saw him, when I was a little 7-year-old girl saying goodbye to him.
Wow.
Coins that traveled with him on the plane, coins that crashed with him, and coins that have survived all these years. And the black part on them, I sort of think that possibly could be, carbon molecules from my dad's physical body.
Wow.
Just a really, really cool, surreal experience holding them, and then just being out in the trails here. This is what you see here is where I like to run, and I get inspired in the bush, in the wilderness. It's where I feel connected. And so kind of knowing about the Antarctic Marathon, I had already known about it.
So you already knew. You hadn't committed
but
to
I
it
hadn't
yet?
committed to it at that point. Then getting these coins and just being out on a run one day, and it just kind of came to me how they could all fit together, and I could use the marathon as a kind of a platform to give something back to the community that supported me and my family all these years, give something back to search and rescue that were instrumental in finding my dad's plane crash, and that are instrumental in our way of life here, really, on the north end of Vancouver Island here, with people that want to recreate out in the wilderness, even people that work, because of work. They're flying in and out all the time. I mean, so it just became really clear to me that this was an opportunity that I could use to raise money, to give something back to search and rescue, the community, to honor my dad, and to do something to challenge myself physically.
That's awesome.
So those are some of my passions, and it's pretty cool how just kind of taking the time to reflect and just become aware and just let ideas just come to you, and it's pretty amazing what happens. It's fabulous.
It is
It's so.
What I love about your story is what I teach, and often people come to me and they're really down in life, and they can't figure out what they want or where they're heading, or they've lost that passion. And so my goal is to say, okay, there's something within you that wants to express. There has to be. It's in everyone. And we often get, covered up with other people's ideas of what they think we should be doing.
Yeah.
And so it's inspirational for people to hear about your story and know that if you can have a story, they can have a story too.
Everybody has a story. That's the
Everybody
point.
has a story.
Everybody has their own unique story, and it's worth telling.
Absolutely.
It is so worth telling.
Yes.
I believe that.
Yeah, and it's also inspirational because you get an idea and then you follow through with it. Because another tendency of people is they get an idea and they go, oh, that's a dumb idea, it'll never work. And what you've probably, because you've done triathlons and other things, you've probably already realized that when you get an idea and then you follow through with it, it always works.
Yes, it does. It works out one way or another.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to find out, what you need to do, I guess, and where your path is, and listening to yourself, and having the courage really to follow through with just what you think and what you believe, and trusting your sort of voice, your inner voice, and learning to listen to it, really. And
so have you had any roadblocks